Tired of feeling tired? Done with diet culture? Overwhelmed by conflicting nutrition and fitness messages? Then join us, your hosts of the Nutrition Revolution podcast, as we take a deep dive into all things women's fitness and nutrition. I'm Kimberly.
And I'm Tabitha. And together we are debunking diet culture myths and giving you the tools you need to finally see the results you're looking for.
So holidays are coming up. What do you do for Thanksgiving? Do you stay here? Do you cook for everyone?
We stay here. Well, last year we actually went away, and that was really fun. The whole, my husband's side of the family, all 30 of us went to Punta Cana.
Oh,
and
nice.
I'll be honest, it was the best Thanksgiving ever.
Nice.
No one had to cook a thing. And it was just beautiful beaches and a really great time.
That sounds like the best.
Sister-in-laws and I, we were all we want to go every year.
Yes,
but some of the other family members are they miss the traditional Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So this year is a home for the holidays, Thanksgiving, and I'm actually hosting my side of the family on Thanksgiving. Okay. So I'm going to have 30 people here. Well, how about you?
So we did the same. We went away, all of my sisters, all of their kids and my parents, and got one house in the Outer Banks. And it was really fun. It was a lot. There were a lot of people, but it was really fun. All the, my kids had the best time.
Absolutely.
I keep begging to do that again.
Yeah.
So we still did the traditional Thanksgiving. It was just away by the beach, and it was awesome. This year, it'll just be at my parents' house, and my mom kind of has this, whoever comes, and the food will be out at 6. So whoever shows up.
That was my next question. Do you do Thanksgiving in the afternoon or the evening?
So we do Thanksgiving with my in-laws. So we do that in the morning, and then we go over to my parents' house in the afternoon, evening, and do dinner. So 2 Thanksgivings.
Okay. So 2 in 1. That's a lot. Yeah. Thankfully, so we're evening Thanksgiving people. It's always a dinner, but earlier I do 5 o'clock.
That's perfect.
And then for years and years and years, my mother-in-law, when she was able to host, she always did Black Friday. She would do the Myers side of the family Thanksgiving. So on actual Thanksgiving, because she has 4 sons, they could all just go with their wives, families, and do that. So that was really nice. So we still got 2 Thanksgivings, but instead of cramming it into one day,
you did both.
It made the holiday, kind of extended it a little bit. But
that's nice.
The last couple of years, my one brother-in-law lives in Georgia, and he has been going out west to Utah with his wife's family, and my mother-in-law is no longer able to host. So then it falls on one of the daughter-in-laws that live around here, and I already host Christmas Eve now for the family, for my husband's side. So we've actually not done the double Thanksgiving for the past couple of years. And I'm not sure if that's going to come back. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Because I definitely don't want to double up in the same day. My siblings, some of my siblings do that.
that.
Well, also it's you can only eat so much.
Right.
And then, I don't know.
Yeah.
So
sometimes we do we'll eat dinner with his side of the family. And then by the time we get to my parents' house, it's desserts. That's what we eat there.
Oh, that's nice.
So it kind of balances out. But
yeah, that does. I feel so that's a segue into what we wanted to talk about. I don't know about you, Kimberly, but pretty much all of my clients express some sort of anxiety, concern over the holidays and being able to stick to their goals and how to navigate what I've always coined as the eating season.
Yes.
Thanksgiving
starting Halloween all the way through.
Yeah, technically,
Candy
starting
through.
October 31st, running through January 2nd.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you've heard from your clients or that you do for yourself?
Yeah. So I know for a lot of my clients, it's a struggle because they're on, they're always on a diet. They just feel in the past, usually until they meet me, they're always on a diet, yo-yoing, figuring out what to do, right? And so holidays have always been a big stressor, actually starting with Halloween, because a lot of them are, terrified they're going to binge on candy or, oh my goodness, I had a Reese's peanut butter cup while we were walking around. There's, that's still having that shame of wanting to eat or being allowed to eat food. And so really a lot of them, when they come to me, are afraid to do the holidays. This is their season where they're I always gain weight, or I always, have to not eat anything because I'm afraid I'm going to eat everything. And so there's a lot of diet culture, diet myths that are going around right at this season. So, and I know how it is because I've been there, done that, right? So I remember Thanksgiving was a tricky one because I remember being like, well, I'm not going to eat anything all day long.
Yes.
So
and
that
I'm
I
also
can
going to
eat
go run 6 miles.
everything. Yes.
Yeah. I'm not going to eat. I'm going to have like maybe a protein shake. I'm going to punish
Right.
myself with an hour-long run or some intense.
Gotta get that turkey trot in.
Yeah. Some like intense 90-minute spin class or something crazy. And then I can earn this meal. That was my experience for years and years.
Yeah, I think that you're not alone. We aren't alone in that. I feel like if you ask the majority of women, that's how they feel. If they don't have that food freedom yet and they haven't experienced that, it's I'm just not going to eat anything, and then I'm going to eat everything that I want to eat, or, I'm going to make the dessert that I want to eat, and I can only eat it on Thanksgiving Day because that's the day we're allowed to have freedom, So there's a lot of those kinds of myths, unfortunately, still tied to holidays. So.
And that mindset too feeds into overeating and binge eating. And I know people think like, oh, binge eating, they're thinking eating disorders. And no, you can binge eat without having an actual eating disorder.
Absolutely.
But that doesn't mean that behavior of binging is not present in your thoughts or the way that you handle and tackle, not even just Thanksgiving, but any kind of like big event eating experience.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's that scarcity mindset too, right?
All or nothing. Yep.
Grandma only makes this pie on this day. And so
I need to eat all of it today because I can't have it tomorrow because
Right.
it's bad. And that's, the all or nothing.
If I eat pie on a day that's not a holiday, it's going straight to my hips.
It's tricky and it keeps us stuck and perpetuates the shame cycle around food. So what do you personally do?
So for me, now that I have that food freedom mindset, right? So I'm not afraid to eat a piece of chocolate on a random Tuesday. And I think that has helped me learn that there's, room in my diet, room in my lifestyle to eat what I want to eat when I want to eat it. There's the mindset shift of not all food is bad, or, food doesn't create my problems. It's how I'm eating those foods or when I'm eating those foods that make the difference. So,
well, I would add to that too. It's your mindset around those foods.
Correct.
How do you view them? That is really, in my opinion, more the root of the problem than whether they are like healthy or unhealthy.
Right.
Anyways.
No, you're right. And so I think having that mindset now, because I used to be all food is going to make me overweight and feel gross. And now that I know how to eat food and I know which foods work with my body, I can go into a holiday and say, all right, I want to fill up on protein first and then, or just enjoy whatever I want to enjoy in this moment because I'm here with family. That's what it's really about. It's not necessarily about me or my diet or my goals today. It's about just having fun and enjoying things with my family. So, I think the most memorable Thanksgiving for me when I started this journey was the first Thanksgiving when we went paleo.
Okay.
And I brought my own everything. And I just, that was a rough holiday because I had just started changing my eating habits. And it was...
But it sounds like it was still very much entrenched in diet culture with like the good versus bad foods.
It was.
I can have, I can't have versus true moderation and balance.
Yep. It was eat this food list. And if it's not on the food list, you can't have it.
Okay.
Now, that served its purpose because it taught me about nutrition.
Yeah, got you started.
It taught me about all of these things. So that first year going into a holiday was really, really hard. But now that I've, healed my body and I'm doing better, now I go into it with, there's options for gluten-free that I can make and bring with me. So I bring a lot of things with me that fit what we can and cannot have. So dairy-free, gluten-free pies or dairy-free, gluten-free mac and cheese, things that I know that, my kids are going to want to eat because they see everyone else eating it, but can't necessarily have there. So I do a lot of prepping in advance to make sure we're eating things that they enjoy on that holiday that fit our goals. So.
That's one way to definitely get it done is to take care of
It's always tougher when you have allergies or aversions to things. So, if you do have those aversions, I see a lot of clients who are like, well, I just don't go to my family stuff because I can't eat anything there. And I don't think that that's, you still need to go and enjoy time with your family, but there's things that you can do to, mitigate some of those hurdles by bringing your own things. And I know some of the other stuff that we had to deal with in the beginning was people making comments about, oh, well, you can't have this. So, I have food in this, or I'm not meeting your needs of what your gluten allergy. I'm just making my own stuff. Or they would make fun of us for bringing something that was gluten-free. And
that's kind of rude.
Yeah, it was. It was a lot. It was a lot.
It's not super supportive.
No. So it's one of those where this is my boundary. This is what I have to do to be healthy. And this is a boundary that we have as a family.
Do you feel like at the root of it, there was probably a lack of understanding or education?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was definitely, I think a lot of it was, oh, she's on another diet.
Okay. And maybe because you'd had a history of like serial dieting that they just assumed this was just the
another
next
phase.
thing versus like an actual health issue. I think for me, I was introduced to the gluten-free lifestyle when my husband and I first met because his older brother has a gluten intolerance. And that was like the first time that I'd ever heard of it. So, but it was presented in a way of like his body can't handle the proteins in gluten. And so therefore for health and gut health and reducing risk of cancer by continuing to eat gluten, he has to completely avoid that. And so there was like education attached to that. And I was just like, oh, it was like I learned something new and it made sense, and it wasn't like a diet culture thing. Now, years later, I feel like Hollywood jumped on the gluten-free bandwagon, and then that's when it became very like trendy
and people forgot
to do gluten-free.
That there's an actual enzyme that people can't have.
Or they felt like, oh, it was like a weight loss tool, so then it became like diet culture as well. And I think that's where that people get confused and sometimes think that you're just doing it like as a diet versus.
That's when you get asked, is it a preference or a...
One of my girlfriends has celiac, and whenever we go out anywhere and she orders, she always finishes the conversation, the order with, and this is for a food allergy,
right? To
like hit home. And I remember like the first time I went out to eat with her forever ago, hearing her say that, and I thought, oh, that's really interesting. But she's like clarifying, like I actually have a serious food allergy. Like this is not just trendy. Right. You got to watch the cross contamination.
Because wait staff will ask you, is it an allergy or preference? And
okay. I haven't heard too much of that, but I guess they probably should to know if they need to like, the cross contamination piece. Yeah.
But then you're like, well, if I get it, I'm going to get sick. So
I feel really terrible.
You pick, but I would be, sick. So anyway, all of that, let's bring it back to Thanksgiving. So for me and my family, I bring what we know we like. And other than that, it's kind of just enjoy the day, eat what we want, and move on the next day. Yeah. I get up. I don't punish myself with working out.
Yep. If I feel like working out, I will work out. But if I don't, I'm not going to I don't have to earn the calories.
Right. Half the time it's running around playing baseball or football with the kids in the backyard anyway. So, there's none of that. Like, oh, I have to earn my pie, or I have to earn, mac and cheese or whatever. It's eat what I want. I don't track anything on that day. And I try to tell my clients not to track anything on that day either, because if you're tracking it, then you're going to be so hyper focused and you're going to see the calories going up and up and up. And you're just going to be like, never mind, I don't want to eat. And then you're going to miss out on things that, let's say your grandma does make the best pie and you're not going to get to eat it because you were so focused on, I have to lose weight. And I think that to that point too, eating Thanksgiving dinner is not going to make you gain 12 pounds of fat.
Yeah, that's not possible.
So one of the things I tell clients is like, don't get on the scale for like a week after Thanksgiving, because you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I gained fat. And
and a lot of it could be just like extra water retention from the increased sodium that you take in. Like,
you don't normally eat
some
that
bloating.
way.
Exactly. And it'll resolve itself. So enjoy the day, enjoy the eating experience with your family, friends, and loved ones, and don't beat yourself up over it. Yeah. Life's too short. You only get what the average person probably gets, like 80 Thanksgivings in their life. I don't know. What is the average lifespan? That's what I'm saying. Yeah. It comes once a year. So if you think about that, let's say you live to be 80 years old, which is a really nice, ripe old age. Right. You only have 80 holidays in your life. So it's not going to be that one day that's going to make or break. I know for me, I still remember my first Thanksgiving after I had gotten into the world of like intuitive eating and really worked on my mindset around food, because up until that point I was very much like, let me go hit the gym really hard, let me do this 90-minute spin class, let me do like turkey burn, workout, whatever it was.
Takes 100 push-ups to burn off one cookie.
Oh my gosh, yeah, sharing all that stuff in social media and how many burpees do you need to do for this slice of pie and craziness, and then also trying to like really restrict what I would eat so that I could like save up for that. And then I just ended up like starving, kind of hangry, a little cranky. And then when I got to the eating experience, it was like, well, I have to eat everything because the next day I really shouldn't have it. And so it needs to be like done because it's bad. And I still remember that first holiday that I had, probably was about 10 years ago now, after I had done a lot of like deep work with my mindset around food and learning more about, human metabolism and nutrition, where I went and I realized like I can enjoy these foods all in moderation, and I can even enjoy a little bit of leftovers, over the next couple of days and listen to my body. And when I'm full and satisfied, I can stop, knowing that at some point I could have more if needed, and not viewing it as something that had to be earned. Because I've already earned it, because I have a pulse, and I'm a living, breathing human body, human with a body that needs food and nutrition. And that was a game changer for me in removing like stress around it, and the stress of, is this going to like set me back? Or even the next day I need to go out and again have some like grueling workout or fast.
I was going to say make post Thanksgiving Day fasting or post Thanksgiving Day, making sure you're only eating a little bit of food because you overindulge. So that's where I tell people, don't count your calories, because then they'll take those calories and try to rework it so that by the end of the week, it kind of balances off. And then you're just starving the whole time, and it's not helping you. So, it's important to enjoy the day. But like you said, having that intuitive eating, or being able just to eat food without having to worry about it. And then if you want to have the leftovers too. There's a time and a place. We've said this before. There's a time and a place for everything. And you can really work any food into your macros or into your goals if you just do it the right way. So,
and even if though you are someone that's like, no, I'm really working hard to improve my health, to improve my body composition, it is also okay for you to bring some of your own foods or to say no to other foods. And if, let's say, Aunt Laura is offended that you're not eating her sweet potato casserole, you can just respectfully be like, hey, Aunt Laura, like, love your sweet potato casserole. I'm just not eating that right now because of X, Y, and Z health reason or goal. And, I appreciate you respecting my boundaries, and that's okay too. So I think you need to have a clear idea of what your goals are and what are your non-negotiables. And it's okay if you need to bring some of your own foods, even if it's not allergy related, if it's
just because you want to.
And then it's also okay to just let loose and enjoy the foods in the day, and do it by listening to your body. Your body will let you know when you're full and you've had enough. So honor those hunger cues. And then I always like remind myself, like, this isn't a one and done. Right. I could have a little leftovers. I can, like you said earlier, have chocolate on a random Tuesday, working to get rid of that all or nothing mindset. And I think when it comes to feeling under control around food, when we are really hungry because we've been like saving up, we tend to like dive face first into whatever. So I still eat like a normal person on Thanksgiving and those days. Like I have a good
wake up with your good breakfast.
If I feel like exercising, I will. If I don't, I don't.
Yeah.
Still have, a lunch if needed or whatever, and then go into the dinner treating it like it's just any other meal. And that works really well for me, and not overdoing it to where I'm like feeling sick on the couch.
Oh gosh, I remember those times when I was eating so much food because I'm like, it's scarcity. I've got to get it all in. Where now I go in and I'm like, well, I like to eat this. And so eat what you like, and don't be afraid to just be like, yeah, I ate what I wanted. I'm satisfied. And I feel good. And I just don't feel like, because you might feel like that, especially if you're one of those people who, like, now I go and I'm like, protein, because that's what my body's craving. So I will eat turkey. I will eat, whatever, ham, whatever they have there. And, that's the things that I like to eat. So I think there's that idea of sometimes you have to go in and just eat things to please people.
You do not.
Do not.
Going to say you can say no to
the biggest thing that people experience is with holidays, you have to eat the thing that so-and-so made because they worked so hard on it and it is their dish and they would feel sad if you didn't eat it. But you have to set that boundary. If you ate everything that someone brought, I remember when I was teaching, people would bring me stuff.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
And like, I would always set it on my desk and be like, thank you so much. I can't wait to eat this at my lunchtime. When they went to like their class or whatever, I would put it in the trash can or pass it off to someone else because one, I couldn't have it. Two, I didn't know where that came from, who made it. But a lot of people, that is one of the things I see is people want to please other people. So they're eating all of these things to please the people that made them or invited them or are hosting. And so you don't have to, and
you can still be grateful for their efforts and thank them and
other
acknowledge
people are gonna eat it. So you don't have to. I'm saving it so you guys can have more.
Yeah. And I think you can also be honest about it too. If someone did point blank say like, well, what did you think of this? Whatever, you could be like, hey, I have a food allergy. I can't have that. Or if that's not the case, you could just be like, you know what? Thanks so much for making it. It looks fantastic. I'm actually this year just really focusing on,
healing my gut or,
whatever my goal might be. And, if they have a problem with that, I always say that's a them problem.
It is for sure.
So I would say for our listeners, some good practices or helpful points are to work on getting rid of that scarcity mindset, right? Letting go of the all or nothing and not thinking that like you have to earn it and punish your body in order to have that meal or whatever it may be and still kind of eat like a normal person, make nutrient dense choices and then pick and choose what you're going to indulge in and what you're going to just let pass.
Right. And then for anyone who has allergies or very specific goals of things they're trying to feel better, don't be afraid just to say no thank you or bring options that do work for you that will help you stay on track because that's okay too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I guess happy holidays.
Yeah, happy holidays.
Enjoy.
We'll talk more about some holiday eating and strategies in future episodes. So stay tuned.
Sounds good. See ya.
Thanks for spending your time with us. If you found this podcast helpful, we would love for you to share it with your friends and family. And don't forget to subscribe on your podcast platform. If you have nutrition or fitness questions you want answered on future episodes, we would love to hear from you. You can submit these questions to our email, thenutritionrevolutionpodcast@gmail.com, and follow us on Instagram @thenutritionrevolutionpodcast.